618 days. This is how long this Ford Escape has been sitting on the lot over at this dealership. And Ford has been struggling to get a lot of their inventory out from under a lot of these dealerships, which are struggling because of the enormous floor plan costs, which is basically the cost that they have to incur to take out the loans to have these vehicles on their lots. Now, this vehicle started at a MSRP of 35,000, but when these dealerships, when they initially get these cars, they tag a bunch of additional costs to that MSRP. So the initial price was probably closer to 40,000. Now they're saying the selling price is 28,000, but they'll give you a $5,000 discount. So basically you'd be paying $23,000 plus whatever additional fees they have for this vehicle that's almost 2 years old. Now here's the thing. The consumers are broke, and Ford is finding that out the hard way because they've had this, 000 promotion going on for some time now. And for those of you who don't know, that's 0% financing, zero cash down, and zero payments for, I think, 3 months or something like that. And yes, it has moved some of their inventory, but you still have a lot sitting on a lot of these dealerships. And, you have cars like this where it's like, it's almost 2 years now and no one is buying. And you have another one right here. This one, I believe, has been on the lot for over 510 days. And they've been aggressive with this too. I don't know if anyone's going to buy it anytime soon, but it's almost 2026. And you have this 2024 sitting on the lot at a price of 24,000 and still no one is buying. And if you just look at, the rest of their inventory for 2024s, I mean, they got an entire page. I think they got another page too. But these are, Ford Bronco Badlands, Explorers. They had to cut the MSRPs substantially to try to get them moving, but no one is buying them. And the fundamental problem with Ford is they overproduced and the prices just don't make sense. Their consumers cannot afford these high MSRPs. Now they're trying to cut down on the MSRPs, give their dealerships some incentives to move a lot of this metal. But the fundamental problem is a lot of their consumers that would have been coming back are broke. They're underwater on their vehicles. They're in a lot of negative equity. And that just basically means they owe more on their vehicles than it's worth. So the only way for them to get into a new vehicle is by rolling over the negative equity. But a lot of the times the banks are not going to approve that. So they're stuck in a bind. And all of a sudden now you have all these cars that just can't move and these dealerships are stuck. And they have to pay the floor plan on, and they're going to continue to accrue interest on these vehicles until they sell. So there's this heavy motivation for them to basically just take a loss right now and just move on from these vehicles. And they also have a bunch of 2025s to sell too. So come 2026, I guarantee you for the first 3, 4, 5 months, there's going to be a lot of 2025s. And that's with a massive reduction in the overall production of vehicles. So Ford is in a lot of trouble. But just like with Stellantis, this is their own fault. Now, apparently, Ford is also starting this program right now where they're offering lower interest rates for higher risk borrowers. And basically, this is a promotion that's going to run until the end of the month, and it mainly applies to the F-150s. Now, this is obviously a bad idea, and it's going to end up biting them in the butt, but the reality of the situation is Ford is in a desperate situation. They've already tried their 000 promotion. It moved some metal, but it's just not enough. And what a lot of these automakers are now understanding the hard way is that basically the consumer is broke. There's not a lot of money to go around. And this is independent of the car market. Although make no mistake about it, the car market and a lot of these high car prices are a large reason as to why the consumer is in the state that he's in. But doing these type of promotions isn't going to change anything. The reality of the situation is A, the economy has to get better, and B, car prices have to go back to more reasonable MSRPs. Right now, what a lot of these dealerships are doing in conjunction with the automakers is they'll have the high MSRPs, but they're giving all these incentives, all these cash discounts, all these low interest rates. And yes, it does help some buyers get into it. But the reality of the situation is as soon as you start removing those even slightly, the sales start to falter. And this is the fundamental problem that a lot of the people in the auto industry don't understand, is that consumers cannot afford these car prices. And the banks are not going to approve a lot of these auto loans that are going to put the consumers in a bind that basically force them to pay $700-800 a month. That's before the insurance. And that's before all the gas and other fees that they have to add on top of that. So the reality of the situation is current car prices just don't make any sense, and Ford is going to find that out the hard way. And I think by the end of the year, there's going to be a lot of 2025 still sitting on the lots, and it's going to take them 4, 5, 6, maybe even 7 months to get rid of them. And it just seems like they just haven't learned. They just don't understand that the prices of the pandemic era just don't make any sense. But that's my thoughts on it. Let me know what you guys think. And as always, if you like this, make sure to click like and subscribe. See you guys in the next one.